Hey, how's it going? Chris Jenkins, credentialed member of the media, covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, a.k.a. Man of the People, making sure that we continue to bring you coverage of this Carolina Panthers team despite, they got grass. They're cutting the grass right behind me. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it is flying all over the place and on my laptop and all that good stuff. But right now, I'm trying to see if my co-host Andre Cassesday can join us. But until he does, I'm going to get us through the start of this show, breaking down this Jacksonville Jaguars debacle. I don't know how to say all those big words, but it was an ugly, ugly game. Carolina Panthers' first shutout since 2002. Let's see, Andre's still trying to come back on. And first shutout since 2002. That would have been, I forget which week, but it was against the Atlanta Falcons. And I believe that score was 41-0. Today's final score for this Carolina Panthers matchup would have been Jacksonville 26, Carolina 0. Man, it's such a disappointment considering what just happened last week, right? That's when these things hit you the most, when your expectations are high. And I can't say that everybody's expectations were high, but you just felt like, okay, things will be better. We may not win out, but things will be better. But we got blanked 26-0, falling to 2-14. I certainly wish this was a 16-week season, because at this point things would be over. But no, it's 17 weeks. We have one more game to go, and that'll be back in Carolina. I'm going to try to bring Andre on. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, Chris. It was something on my end for
Look
once.
at Andre making me sweat. You know what? I'm gonna take him off the screen. He's gonna be in timeout for a second. I like to share some behind the scenes. Lots of people still will say hello, Chris. Had somebody speak to me pregame today and talk about seeing the growth of the channel, seeing the growth of our team. Patrick Snyder, our photographer, is off to my right getting some photos. Andre's getting us ready. But what happened today is I'm in a slightly different spot than you guys normally see, and I'd just like to provide a glimpse of what we do since we have such good support out there for what we do. I was all set up to go, got my computer, cameras, and everything out, and then I didn't realize that I had zero power left in my portable power. Why did I have zero power? Well, in the pregame show, if you had a chance to check it out, which owner David Tepper did, so I don't know why you wouldn't. The sun was bright, so it took all of my battery. I didn't check it, didn't realize it. So at the last minute, I had to shuffle, and as a one-man show, move everything over closer to, I don't know if you could probably see it, probably can't. Yeah, you can, just at the corner of the screen there, inches away from the Carolina Panthers bench. But nevertheless, we're going to tag team this thing. I'm going to turn it over to Andre. I'm just messing with him here. I'm going to bring it back on the screen here. And I'm going to let you get started with the show and just some high-level things, Andre, as I need probably about 2 to 3 minutes to do a little touch-up work on the show crops that Patrick sent over, and we'll go through it. But I know you were able to listen to the press conference, so that may be a good spot to start with, and I'll come back here in a second, all right?
Yeah, and before I get into it, I love the comment that Shelley Long just put down where she just said Andre was done. And I think we can all agree, with this performance today, a lot went wrong, right? Carolina picked a bad day to have a bad day. And let me go ahead and kind of dive into the presser from Chris Tabor and start out with the injury situation. So we had 7 players injured in today's game. Now, some of them did come back into this game, but there are at least 3 players who got hurt and ultimately were out for the rest of the game. So I'll go ahead and read off the list that I have right here for all of you. Bryce Young, Brian Burns, Frankie Luvu on the very first play of the game got hurt. Eddie Pinheiro pregame tweaked his hamstring. Marquise Haynes, probably the scariest injury of the day, being evaluated for a concussion. He was ruled out, and he's still undergoing that evaluation process right now. Cade Mays with a finger, he's out. He was out for the game. And then Dante Jackson got hurt in the game as well. He was cleared after being evaluated for a concussion. So pretty much a ugly day for Carolina. A lot of things that went wrong in this game today, and Chris Tabor kind of iterated that sentiment that he was disappointed in the team's performance. He didn't anticipate this kind of performance in today's game, especially over these past 2 weeks, and how the team has progressed and really showed signs of improvement and signs of hope, right? When you look at Bryce Young and how he was able to come back against Atlanta and put up a game winning drive. And then last week against Green Bay, putting up the best offensive performance of the year, 30 points, which, in any game this season is unheard of, right? And then to come out against Jacksonville, who was missing their starting quarterback, right? And put up a donut, a Krispy Kreme donut. First time that has happened since 2002 that Carolina has been shut out in a game. I mean, you cannot put into words, you cannot try to comprehend or conceptualize what took place today, because this was such a letdown on in many different ways and in epic proportions. I mean, you just cannot try to put into words what took place today, because it was just an ugly, ugly day. And Chris Tabor himself, and he reiterated his point, and this is something that he has said all the time. It's not about how you always try to handle a situation, right? And how do you handle that situation? He always has that saying where it is something and then compromise. I forget what the other word is. In regards to that sentiment, it's a good alliteration phrase that he has, either something or compromise. I forgot what the first word was that he always says. But, when you look at today, I mean, Chris, you saw it in person. I mean, that was something else from that team that resides on Minton Moorhead down in Jacksonville today.
Yeah, you thought we were beyond the part of like this team was just so awful. When Frank Wright was let go, you didn't think that they were going to turn around and run the tables, but you just thought we were behind it's so awful. You thought you were behind the times where you just find yourself in the press box as you're working on your story and getting ready for the post game. You're not just looking up information to be like, this is the worst since. This is the worst since. Like, you're just looking up things to measure how bad things really are. And yeah, first shutout, was it 2002, right?
2002.
That just doesn't even seem right.
Real.
Like 2002, that shutout, and then when you saw the interception at the end, which was off a tip ball, you just knew that was over. So final score 26-0. I do have those photographs ready, so we're going to share those with you guys. And by the way, I see some people signing in already. Appreciate everybody that signs in, and want to say this, have to say this, thank you all for signing in and watching us right now. I know we could say we're going to be with you guys till the wheels fall off, but 2-14, New Year's Eve, getting shut out, there are probably one or maybe two other things that you could be doing, but you're here with us, me and Andre, and I really appreciate it. It's going to get better. It's definitely going to get better, but let's go ahead. It has to. It's almost, I won't say it's almost, it is impossible. Yes, I'm going to say impossible for it to not get any worse than this. Let's go ahead. Andre, I'm going to allow you to put on that narrator voice that you had. Wow, right in my ear. And let you go through some of these. I will say I might double up on a picture. If so, I'm sorry. But, and I got to get really close to the screen. Earlier, the sun was here. And now it's behind me. As you can see, this big old highlight on my face, which I'm not going to be able to get away. But hopefully I won't show too many duplicates. But here we go.
All right, so this is right here, Marquise Haynes, after the injury that he sustained. He had a pretty big hit on C.J. Beathard, and this was in the third quarter. And C.J. Beathard was also hurt on this play as well. He was able to come back after a snap. But this was probably the scariest sight of the day right here, Chris, is when you saw the immediate actions after the play where Marquise Haynes kind of fell to the ground, and you're like, oh boy, this really does not look good, right? And then you see the whole team come out and, was on their knees, because of the immediate concern that they had for their fellow player there in that situation.
Did Tabor give any additional information on him? Because we didn't get any during the game.
He just said that he was being evaluated for a concussion at a hospital, and that process is still underway. But that was the furthest update that he had on Marquise Haynes. He didn't have anything too concrete after that.
All right, so everybody stay tuned, because typically we're able to get some information if whether or not he's able to fly back with the team tonight. So just stay tuned on Twitter for some more updates on that as well.
Moving along here, we have Tommy Trimble making a catch. This was, I believe, in the end of the first half there. He had a pretty quiet day, kind of along with the rest of the team, offensively speaking. That was one of the lone highlight plays that we were able to capture there on that one. As we move along here to our next image.
Yep, there's a duplicate. I told you that would happen, maybe.
The Marquise Haynes situation there. And this was the theme of the day right here. Bryce Young constantly under duress. This was a play here by Josh Allen, one of, I believe, 3 sacks that Josh Allen had in this game today. But, I mean, this is just probably about 80% of the pictures that Patrick Snyder, our wonderful photographer, sent. Because this was their whole offense today. Just upended by Jacksonville's defense and their pass rush. They reclaimed the nickname Sacksonville down in Jacksonville today because of the amount of times that Bryce Young got sacked today. We'll go over that number here in a minute. Tommy Trimble, immediately following the game, black and white, capturing the emotion of what everybody was feeling after that putrid performance. I mean, you can't get it any better than that there. The look on his face and the blank stare off in the distance. That's how we all feel right now.
He's like here, I'm going to put it back up. Let's play a little fun game of caption this, right? All right, I'm going to go first. We'll see how many we can string off in a row. You ready? It's an impromptu game with my co-host here.
Yes.
He's saying, man, where am I? Is this real?
Where am I?
That's my caption.
Can 2024 come soon enough? Question mark, question mark.
I wonder if my hair looks good with this lighting.
Oh, man. I like that one.
There you go.
All right, how about this one? Am I going to be on this team next year? Question mark, question mark.
All right, let's see if we can do one more.
Oh, man.
My New Year's resolution, can it begin right now? Can this be over right now?
Oh, and here's a final good one on my end of things. I can think of this one, right? Can the Charlotte Vibe get to 10,000 subscribers for
there we go.
The new year?
There we go. Good job.
Yes. Can it happen before 2024 hits, ladies and gentlemen? Y'all know what to do, right?
Hit that like button. Help us get to 10,000 subscribers. So subscribe to the channel. Members, we need you. Greatly appreciate it. Help support this channel. You can be a part of something great, knowing that you helped us go from 3 guys to 5 guys to travel to all the teams and doing a lot of interviews with players. So we need your support to do that. But I hope you guys, again, it's 2-14. I know Andre and I cannot just sit here and talk about things. There's a little bit of entertainment that we want to try to bring to it, which we're trying to do as we go through what is a very tough game. So let's go ahead and run through these stats today as well. Again, my screen is blistering with some sunlight, but let's go here. Last week, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, over I think it was a 110 passer rating. I forget the sacks. But today, and I'm going to talk to the team about this. You see how on the screen there, it shows that we have, I don't know, it's about 112 yards, and then there's another line. I just wonder which one's official. I think the top one's official because when he had the 300 yards last week, everybody went with that top line. But it's just interesting how they show these stats. But nevertheless, I'm going to get it back on the screen here. Man, this sunlight is blazing. All right. Yeah, 19 of 32, 112 yards, 3.5-yard average. That is literally less than half of his average last week. No TDs. The interception at the end really was not his fault. It was a tip ball. 53.1 passer rating. Andre, briefly, do you have any ideas what happened?
You want to talk about a blistering performance today, right? I mean, that was wow. You can't blame all of it on Bryce, but you can also, two things can also be true. He did have a poor performance, but a lot of that was because of the surrounding pieces around him. And again, this is the common theme with this season. When you have no time to throw the football, you're going to be out of rhythm. When you don't run the football well, you're going to be out of rhythm. And when you don't have receivers that can't separate or get open, you're not going to be in rhythm. And those numbers indicate how out of rhythm he was today.
Yeah, it hurts. Let's look at the rushing. Now, Chuba Hubbard did not have a bad game. I almost wonder if we could have gave Chuba the ball a little bit more. Not saying that would have made the game tremendously different. We got our butts handed to us. But 11 carries, 45 yards with a 4.1 yard average. Miles Sanders, 2 carries for 10 yards. Bryce only ran the ball one time. Amir Smith-Marset one time. And rushing just looked pretty bad. We're going to go into these a little deeper here in just a second, so we're going to continue to move through these. Adam Thielen, you know what he deserves? Man, I cannot see my sound effects in my screen. I'm just going to have to go with this one. It's the first one I can see.
The good old reliable.
The good old reliable applause. You know what that's for Adam Thielen by chance? Do you know what that's for?
He's at 1,000.
He's at 1,000.
Is he at 1,000 for the year?
He is at 1,000 for the year on yardage, and he is at 100 receptions for the year. Great season for him. So hats off to Adam Thielen. I won't talk about it too long, though, because I know we lost bad. Chuba Hubbard in there with 4 catches. And as you see, basically everybody else just disappeared. Not enough production from anybody else. Lots more context to that, but we're just running through these stats to show that to you guys. For the first time this season, or perhaps in a while, Brian Burns came on and he had 8 tackles, had a sack, had a couple quarterback hits, and there you have it. So we have some breaking news here. I'm going to go widescreen here, and I'm going to let my good friend Mike K of the Charlotte Observer join us here. And Andre, if you have anything for him, just let me know, and I'll be sure to ask him. But I like to ask you guys to get a chance to go in the locker room. What was that locker room? I love the shade. I need to put his shade on. Locker room, what was it like today?
Rough. I mean, it was tough. Like, it was pretty somber.
You
hold the mic, and then I'll look up here,
yeah.
so that way it's more professional. I would say that it was pretty somber. I think, a lot of guys don't want to admit defeat. They don't want to say they quit. They don't want to throw off the impression that the season's over. There's still 1 game left. I think a lot of people know that they're being evaluated. Brian Burns is likely to get franchise tag or a contract extension based off of, how he handles the rest of the year.
I want to talk to you so much more about that, but I will not.
Frankie Louvu, a guy who gets punched in the eye or poked in the eye, has a bloody nose in the first quarter, still plays throughout the entire game. He's going to be a free agent. I mean, Chuba Hubbard, has to play through this game where he's not getting a lot of carries. He's trying to prove that he deserves to be a number 1 running back on this team next year where they can spend elsewhere. Like, there are guys that are fighting for their NFL lives, fighting for their jobs, fighting for their spots on depth charts, not just in Carolina, but elsewhere, maybe here, who knows. I would just say that this team is very high character, very low talent as a group. And it's evident. I mean, this team is not good. It's not just the coaches. It's not just the personnel. It's everything. This needs a full-on teardown and a lot of coats of paint. I mean, buckets and buckets of paint. If you know somebody who has a deal at Lowe's, please send the coupons over to the Panthers.
We don't talk about Lowe's around here.
Hey, don't interrupt me talking in my ear like that. You're saying jokes in my ear.
That's my job.
So tell me this, your opinion. Okay, last week provided some optimism with Bryce's performance, the offense as a whole. I think everybody was hoping not that it was going to continue to be like that, but we'd have some sustained mediocrity, if you will. Mm-hmm. Today's performance was such a backstep, such a back. any ideas on or your opinion about how that happened today?
A lot of third down sacks, a lot of fourth down sacks. This team couldn't kick field goals, and when you're so dependent on field goals for points and you don't have that field goal kicker, it takes a whole different approach to running an offense. They had no margin for error. And I'm not going to blame this totally on Eddie Pinheiro, but when your offensive line isn't working and you don't have the option of kicking a field goal, it's 7 or 8 or bust. And if you're at the blackjack table and you constantly are coming up empty and you're trying to chase your losses, you're just going to lose. And that's kind of what the Panthers did here.
Now, I know there's context to this as far as Eddie Pinheiro being out. And Panthers fans, we have some luck, right? Was it Gonzalez several years ago that hurt himself pregame warming up? And we had to go, against Buffalo. We had all the players trying out. And today we had Pinheiro before the game go out. Number one, first part is backup kicker. Is there one at all that could do something?
I mean, there might have to be. They might have to sign a guy to a practice squad and elevate him just to be safe, at least for kickoffs.
Let me go back. I said backup kicker, but like another guy that just could have came in and kicked some kind of field goal or extra point.
I think Johnny Hecker and Camus Grugier-Hill could have kicked extra points. They never got there. So, I mean, like a 39-yard field goal, maybe they could have. Chris Tabor said that would have been a possibility. It's just at the time they didn't do it, and we saw that was like their really only chance to score. So I don't know, man. This is bad. I covered this Jacksonville Jaguars team at the end of the Gus Bradley era, and it was brutal. This is so much worse. And so the only answer is to really tear it down. I just don't know how you can have a positive vibe about anything going. I mean, I tried. Like, Adam Thielen had a 100 catch, 1,000-yard season. It's the first, I believe, since 2019. Who cares? I mean, not like who cares, but like at the moment, I even talked to him in the locker room. At the moment, it's not about accolades for him. He wants to win, and I feel like this team wants to win. They've done a really good job of collecting character people. I don't think they've done enough job of collecting talent, and it was evident today. I mean, this Jaguars team was struggling. They couldn't run the ball. Oh, wait, now, ETN goes for over 100 yards. He hadn't surpassed 60 in a game in 7 weeks. He did it on one play. I mean, like, this is
going through multiple guys.
I mean, this Jaguars defense had struggled significantly over the last 4 games. Like, this was just I don't know. I'm at a loss because you have to be objective in our jobs. And it's just like, I have no solution. Like, yeah, I've got a lot of smart aleck takes, but like, that's not necessarily everything. And I just kind of feel like this team is just hopeless. I mean, they are. I mean, even when, we patted them on the back because they had 30 points the last game. Guess what? They lost. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just one of those things where if they win like grimy and dirty, and it's like they put up 15 and 9 points. They have scored 24 collective points in their 2 wins this season. Like, do you know how wild that is? I mean, look, the team that I used to cover, the Eagles, has just kind of imploded slowly but surely, too. I mean, like, this has been a very weird year for football between the quarterbacks getting injured and all this other stuff. I would also say, to Bryce's credit, he was basically folded like an accordion and still played the rest of the game after getting injured in the first quarter. Like,
did he give any comments on that?
I wasn't in his press conference. I was in the locker room. But, I mean, it does speak to the character and the grit of this team. I do think this is a gritty team, but, like, ultimately in the NFL, talent and technique went out. They were terrible tackling today. They were terrible blocking. They were, like, it was a mess. This is one for the ages. Or at least one for 2023. What a way to cap this off. It was kind of like a symbolic gesture of the entire season.
It's a cherry on the top kind of deal.
Hey, this guy has to get back to writing. So, Andre, I don't know if you want to throw one question, and don't make it too long because my memory's bad here. Did you have one?
I'll just speak for the people. I'm reading through the comments right now. The situation with Andy Dalton, why wasn't he brought in late in the fourth quarter when Carolina knew they were going to lose? Why didn't they just go ahead and put Andy Dalton in despite, with the situation with Bryce Young?
So Andy Dalton didn't play. Mm-hmm. And should he have played? With Bryce getting banged up, getting hit so much, after that interception, I think, 3 minutes-ish was to go in the game. Should there have been some thought to bring Andy Dalton out to just cruise us in and not further hurt Bryce and his confidence, physique, all that good stuff?
I mean, in theory. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, they've had so many opportunities to go to Andy. I said it at the beginning of the season, they should have waited to put Bryce on the field and had Andy kind of ease him in. But no, right at training camp, they had to say, nope, let's throw him out there. And then they lost that. And then Bryce gets injured, and Andy plays somewhat well against Seattle. They go right back to him. I just think, like, this team is all in on Bryce. This season is all about Bryce. And I think, listen, man, like, if it is all about Bryce and it's 2-13, yikes. You know what I mean? They're giving up the first overall pick. They basically put the first round pick. Chicago put the first round pick on layaway with like a, right?
They got a great deal. They got a
phenomenal
deal.
I mean, like, you know, you go to the local Kia dealership, you're not getting that type of deal. You know what I mean? Like, but like, I don't know. The only way to find something good in here, and I see Andre laughing and
loudly in my ear.
And I don't think, like, if Andre puts out a rap album, I don't think his name will be Andre 2023, based on what he has seen this year. But, you know, there's always 2024, and they could play spoiler against the Buccaneers, who had a major letdown today. So
So we're going to have a primetime game next week in Charlotte? How are they going to do that?
I think it'll be at 4. That's typically what the NFL does. I don't know that putting Carolina on national television is really smart ratings for anyone, but man.
If you do it split screen, it could be dramatic because you're watching Carolina get whipped while you're watching the other playoff implications.
Honestly, that would be the smarter move, is to have 2 games at the same time, so one way or another you get something interesting. I just think, like, I don't know. Well, see, the Cowboys and the Eagles are both fighting for either the number 2 or the number 3 seed and the NFC East. So that's kind of interesting. Nobody's repeated in that division for like 20-something years.
Wow.
Or 20. I think it's 20 years.
Yeah.
So that probably, I mean, the Eagles and the Cowboys are money on national television. So I don't know. I hate covering 4 o'clock games. It's like it's like getting ice cream, but like 1 scoop. You know what I mean? It's like you're there, but you're not getting any of the return. Anyway, tip your waitress if you're watching. I guess that's what I got.
Mike K of the Charlotte Observer, thank you so much. Be sure to check him out. He's going to go finish. You have to finish writing.
Okay.
Yeah, he has to go finish writing some stuff, which he does. I say some stuff, but it's really great. It's really great information that he puts out there. Shouts out to Andre Cassesday for laughing hysterically in my ear that entire time just to test my ability to do 2 things at once. But you
got to keep you on your toes, man.
You do. But I hope you guys, again, appreciate the content that we do here at Charlotte Vibe. Continue to build upon what you guys like to see. Got some great feedback when we started having other media come on to tell us about the locker room stuff, as Andre and I aren't able to do that at the game because we just don't have enough people. So, again, hat tip, much appreciation to Mike K. We'll have his information down in the description for you all to check him out, give him a follow, and just say, hey, saw you on Charlotte Vibe. Well, we got the sun that has gone down, so I need to change my lighting here a little bit, right? it's super bright now. But as I adjust this, we're going to get into some more of the comments and things going on here. Andre might have to step off for a second. So, yeah, I'm going to step off for a quick second, and then we'll come back. Go ahead, Andre. Tell him something good.
But, yeah, I mean, what this man said, Mike K., I mean, he kind of just did a phenomenal job of encapsulating what took place today. I'm over here speechless because I'm still in the moment of what I just watched. But Mike K., that's why they pay him the big bucks, because not only was he in the moment trying to figure out what did I just watch, but he was able to describe in pretty good detail the kind of nonsense and everything in between that took place in today's game. So props to Mike K., one of our favorite dudes out there in the media business. Give him a follow, too, if you haven't already.
Yeah, so let's talk about some of these, break down some of this game here. I'll just let you follow my lead here, Andre. You want to know how good this first half was? Well, as we know, Carolina Panthers, I was going to say, didn't have any points in the first half, but they did not have any points the entire game. So that's pretty bad. And what happened with the Jacksonville Jaguars? Well, they built steam as each quarter went, which means when I say these guys can quit, I don't really want to say quit. I just feel like they probably, it's like the tread is officially off the tire, right? Like, so your tire doesn't quit. It's just worn out, right?
It's a balded tire.
They played very good all season long. They had the bad game last week. They didn't play bad today. It kind of started to snowball a little bit. But in that first half, approximately, because I don't have a great stat guy, even though I have Andre laughing in my ear a lot. Well, he can see you now, so he's not going to laugh as much now. But it was approximately at the 40-yard line at which Jacksonville was getting their possession started in that first half, and they were able to score pretty much after each one of those getting field goals. They had 3 points first quarter, 6 points second quarter, 10 points third quarter. They cooled off a little bit and had 7 in that fourth quarter. Again, final score was 26. First half, Carolina Panthers, just abysmal. 3 first downs in the first half, all of which came on the very first drive. They had an average yard per play of 1.4. It was just incredibly bad. Time of possession, 17 minutes for Jacksonville, 12 minutes for Carolina. Just so many things that went wrong in that first half. And then let's talk about defensively. I don't know what my note is there, so I'm going to continue to go through some of these things. Let's talk about the pressure that Bryce was under. How many times was he sacked today?
6
Do you
times.
remember? 6 times. You know what happened today? Unfortunately, Carolina Panthers continue to be that get-right team for the others. Mike touched on the fact that the running back had a 60-something yardish one carry, which was more than he had in previous games. He had it in one carry, finished with a pretty good total today of over 100 yards. But their defensive guy, Josh Allen. How many sacks did Josh Allen have? He had 3. 3 sacks out of their 6. In that 3, he ended up setting a franchise record for sacks in a season. So congratulations to Josh Allen there.
It's 15 and a half sacks, I believe.
On the season?
On the season that he has, yeah.
Yeah, lots of good stuff. Unfortunately, not for the Carolina Panthers. But I will, again, we try to be a little entertaining right now due to the record of 2-14. Mike said 2-13, but I'm not going to give him any crap for that because when you lose so many, it's like we're 2 and I don't know, whatever. So it's the time to go home. But what about that Derek Brown little scuffle at the end of the game?
I liked it.
Tell me why. Tell me why.
Because when you're watching from afar, right, in a situation like this team is in right now where you're down at that point 26-0, it's like, hey, can somebody just show some pride, some heart, some willingness to put up a fight for? And Derek Brown, seemingly the only guy out of this whole team, and specifically with the defense, decided to get into a little scuffle with somebody. Because, you're at that point in the game where it's like, well, you're going to lose, right? But at least lose with a fighting chance. I mean, I can't even say fighting chance because you're down by so many points at that point of the game. So it's like, what's the point at this juncture in time? But I mean, I liked it. It showed the fire that he still had left, despite being down by that many points in the fourth quarter, and it gave him a chance to exit the game early and maybe take an expedited flight home to Charlotte. I mean, who knows? But I mean, I do respect him for that, and his attempt to try to ruffle some feathers on the opposite side of the field there.
What I liked about it was that Derek Brown, you know how they talk about that dog? That dog, we haven't heard a lot of talk about that, understandably, because we're not winning much. But Derek Brown just seems like that guy that's like, listen, don't cross the line. Like, we can do this as we're supposed to do it. You can hit me hard, I can hit you hard, but don't cross the respect line. Because early this season, right, he had the little
Michael Thomas
thing in the tunnel, right? And today, when he grabbed that guy, it was like, okay, listen, I ain't letting go, man, till you shut up. And he ripped his helmet. They just both ripped each other's helmet off. Both being like, hey, this is the line. And that's, nobody got hurt. Nobody threw punches. So that was good from a safety standpoint. But it was just good to see a player that stands up for himself like that. And, little chatter that I heard was, man, would be nice to have some offensive linemen like that for when Bryce Young is getting his head knocked off, a little late hit and stuff. Instead of guys just saying, all right, Bryce, you okay? All right, well, we'll help you up, you know?
Hey,
Would be
that
nice
would
to
be
have
a
some
thought,
nastiness.
Yeah.
All right, so let's try to get through some comments before we get out of here. Again, appreciating everybody that's tuning in, taking their time on this New Year's Eve. What a crazy season it's been. You are correct, Captain Prince. Shelly Long, embarrassing. Absolutely.
Indeed.
We dug the dirt floor even deeper. Nightmare game, nightmare season.
Can it get any worse, Leonard? I don't know if it can, but you never know with this team, right?
Trying to click on this button here. And by the way, just in case you guys care, now I'm freezing. The sun was hot, and now I'm freezing. I knew that was going to happen. That's actually
man.
I actually started over there on that side. Well, let me go widescreen for just a second here.
Okay.
Here we go. So I actually started over there on that side because I came out the tunnel right there. And I'm like, time management, just don't go all the way to the other side of the field, Chris. But then I was like, whew, it's a little bit chilly over here. And there was sun on this side, so I hustled my butt all the way over to the other side so I could be in the sun for a good part of the show.
Right.
Welcome back, fellas. It seems like the Panthers are the get-right team for all the teams that are either on or losing streak, no sacks, or suffer bad performance in previous game. Yeah, what he said. Absolutely. I mean, when you're 2-12, you're the get-right for any possible element on the other side, offensive, defensive, heck, even special teams. It's there. I don't know. Did Blackshear return a kick today?
No.
I know we only had one kickoff because we had several kickoffs because Jags kept scoring.
Yeah. I mean, it was just ugly. And, Tampa Bay, hey, they're probably seething at the opportunity to play Carolina next week because they're due for a get-right game after losing to the Saints today at a game that they should have won, because if they won today's game against New Orleans, they lock up the division. So, that it's going to be another scenario where, hey, this could be another get-right opportunity for another team going up against the Panthers.
Baker he just wanted to do it against Carolina.
It's
what
all
better
scripted.
Team to actually, absolutely.
It's all scripted.
Just like that 2-point conversion last night,
Right.
We got to kind of finagle some things sometimes whenever we can. Shelly Long says Brown has heart. All right, Andre Carson Henson says, can we talk about the Akeem being a turnstile? Can we talk about Akeem being a turnstile?
See, if we had more time, that would have been the other question that I would have asked Mike K, because I really wanted to hear his insight about this is more than a sophomore slump with Ikem Ekwonu, right? I mean, this is
he had a good game last week. He was like one of the highest rated offensive linemen last week.
Chris, that was last week. We're talking about today. And really
Andre
for the season, just the season in general, right? I mean, there was a stat that I think I saw from David Newton where he had, I believe, 18 either pressures or sacks given up on the year for Ikem Ekwonu, which is the most in that metric that he was referring to. So again, to everybody out there, just fact check me if there was something wrong with what I said there. But regardless, you get the point. He's had a pretty rough season. And it's not to say that Ikem Ekwonu is not a capable player, but could it be just because he's just in the wrong position? And I think that conversation is going to get brought up during the offseason. Do they move him to guard? Do they shift him inside? Because he's definitely a more than willing blocker. But when you look at last year and this season, and you look at the two types of play styles from run to pass and how everything is set up, he struggles in those scenarios where he's going up against a speed rusher. I mean, that entire first half, Chris, you saw it. Like, that whole left side was compromised. And it was repeatedly over and over and over again where they just could not get Bryce Young's blind side in order there.
Yeah, it's rough, and it's tough. We got some more comments, mostly things we already touched on. Why didn't Bryce stay out and Dalton come in? We don't know. You know, we can only speculate. Mike Case saying maybe they're just that much all in on Bryce Young. Someone says prayers to Marquise Haynes. Absolutely. And again,
Yes.
if he takes the team playing back, we will try to update you on that. So just look to Twitter for that. Other people saying the wheels on the bus fell off a long time ago. So yeah, it is truly one of those unfortunate times where in journalism it's like, well, we could talk about things, but I feel like everyone's had their fill, of optimism, and we just got to wait till some things happen. So I won't bore you guys with any kind of optimism talk, and we all just know it's just going to take some time to get this thing right. I will go to a few fun things that we're going to end on. One is somebody wants to know the backstory behind Andre Cassesday. And was it Lowe's or something like that? They just said. Did you see that comment?
Yeah, I did from Leonard Kowalski when Mike brought up the whole Lowe's thing and overhauling this Panthers roster.
Oh, I know. Right? Do I know why?
You do know why, and I don't think
Okay.
we have the time to go into it because it is such an ordeal that I had to deal with a couple of months back. So just stand by on it. When we have time, I will offer my side to the story. And if Lowe's gets to hear my story, maybe I could be financially compensated for the struggles that me, my mom, and her boyfriend had to deal with over the course of that day period.
But it is kind of safe to say that you feel like it's kind of isolated, like Lowe's as a whole with their other departments in their mega store, you feel pretty good about, right?
I do, but when it comes to involving other people to get things delivered, they're independent third parties.
Yes.
That's a story for another day, and I don't want to rile myself up because I'm already pretty riled up as is. So I will just leave it at that. It is a Sunday, the day before New Year's. I'm going to be a happy Andre Cassesday, okay?
Hey, perfect segue, even though you didn't know I was about to say this. New Year's is in about 6 hours and 46 minutes.
Ooh.
I'm going to give you a little solo shot, man. You want to give me a little New Year's resolution? You care to share one?
Oh, man. What is one for me? I'm going to
have
say, yeah, this is going to be related to you, Chris, because, there's something that I'm always bad about involving our relationship, right?
Uh-oh.
So he always gets on me for not responding to emails, right? So my New Year's resolution is to, within a day period, respond to a Chris Jenkins email whenever it is sent in my inbox. And there was this one time where I got an email from him, and it was a pretty direct email. And I think I responded within like a minute that email was sent. And I think I had Chris floored with how quickly I responded to his email. So my New Year's resolution, and if we do continue down the road, my New Year's resolution, respond to Chris Jenkins' emails in a timely fashion.
That was very comedic. That was personal. That was touching. All right. I'm going to adjust. I won't say adjust mine. I'm going to give you one based on what you just gave me. My New Year's resolution is that the Jenkins family will halt having children. We're maxed out. We're done. And that's going to allow me to not be sliding into shows and productions that we have at the last second, because Andre has had to endure 1,000,001 of me literally sliding in, right? Hey, and not being live, not telling him what the show is going to be about, not telling him what interviews are going to be. Sometimes,
including today, ladies and gentlemen, including today.
No, you had the script at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning.
I'm just kidding.
Today was good. So my resolution is to get my life a little bit in more control, and make sure that I give my great co-host some more heads up. But I will say, and I'm going to bring him back on the screen here, it's not the end of the season, it's the end of the year. It's been great working with you, sir. It's been good to grow together and to have some better chemistry. And we got our work cut out for us. We made it through we're not done, but it's the end of the year. So anyway, I'm done there. Anything else you want to say? Actually, you're flickering, so your computer
Yeah.
wanting to go ahead and go into the
It
new year.
is
So
spazzing out.
I'm gonna go back to this nice, beautiful shot here. So once again, Carolina Panthers fall to the Jacksonville Jaguars, 26-0. They are 2-14. They return to Charlotte next week to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That game could be changed. As you know, the schedule is not out for anybody for next week because the NFL started, and I like it a lot, but they started not scheduling the games of the last week, because they didn't want teams to kind of like quit or to sit their players, which, I applaud them for that, because it's expensive as heck to be at an NFL game. So making sure they are competitive games, not like what you saw with Georgia and Florida State last night, is pretty important.
Oh, boy.
So that should be coming to you all soon. Thank everybody for tuning in. I'm Chris Jenkins. You can't see him, but he's Andre Cassesday for Charlotte Vibe. We appreciate you all very much. Hit the like button, please subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
See you in the new year.